Introducing Amendment Number 3, we have Phoebe Francois, the President-elect of the T.J. Reddick Bar Association.
Amendment Number 3, changes and improvements not affecting the assessed value of residential real property. It's referenced by Article 7, Sections 3, 4, and a new section, sponsored by the Florida Budget and Taxation Reform Commission. Summary is that it authorizes the legislature by general law to prohibit consideration of changes or improvements to residential real property which increase resistance to wind damage and installation of renewable energy source devices to factors in assessing the property's value for ad valorem taxation purposes. In other words, the amendment will allow increased value of residential property based on improvements designed to improve hurricane safety without assessing additional taxes. Some of the pros is that hurricane safety may be improved in residential property. Residential property values may be increased. And the amendment may relieve the burden on non-renewable energy sources. Some of the cons are that the local revenues could suffer. Individual savings may be minimal, and the amendment does not apply to new construction.
Introducing Amendment Number 4, we have Dina Holliday, who serves as the Vice President of Delta Sigma Theta, as well as the past President of T.J. Reddick Bar Association.
Amendment Number 4, property tax exemption of perpetually preserved land, classification and assessment of land used for conservation. The sponsor of this amendment is Florida Budget and Tax Reform Commission, and the references are found in Articles 7, Sections 3 and 4, and a new section in Article 12. Currently, numerous provisions of federal estate and tax law favor landowners who preserve their property in its natural state. This provision would provide further tax benefits to those landowners. In summary, this provision would provide two things. First, it would provide a complete property tax exemption for conservation easements. Thus, this exemption would apply to land that a property owner agrees to maintain in its current state and not develop. Secondly, the amendment gives the legislature the authority to create a new classification titled conservation land. Conservation land would qualify for a tax reduction pursuant to the conditions, limitations, and reasonable definitions established by general law. This amendment would apply to property taxes beginning in 2010. A pro of the amendment is that it may encourage further conservation of land in its natural state. Some cons are local revenue will be decreased, existing policies already favor those who preserve their land. The amendment would not require public access to the lands to which it applies.
Introducing Amendment Number 5, we have Jasmine Shirley, who serves as a past president of the Broward County Alumnae chapter of Delta Sigma Theta.
Amendment Number 6, assessment of working waterfront property based upon current use. This amendment is referenced in Article 7, Section 4, and Article 12, a new section. In summary, Amendment 6 provides for assessment based upon use of land used predominantly for commercial fishing purposes, land used for vessel launches into waters that are navigable and accessible to the public, marinas and dry stacks that are open to the public, and water-dependent marine manufacturing facilities, commercial fishing facilities, and marine vessel construction and repair facilities and their support activities, subject to conditions, limitations, and reasonable definitions as specified by general law. The sponsor of Amendment 6 is the Florida Budget and Taxation Reform Commission. By way of background, access to public waterfront has been reduced as marinas and the like cannot afford to resist developers' offers to convert the land into condominium towers and other private properties and buildings. The amendment would require those properties to be taxed based upon their current use rather than their highest and best use. The pros of Amendment 6 are as follows. 1. Access to public waterfront areas would more likely remain at current levels rather than continuing to diminish. And number 2, this measure may reduce property taxes on working waterfront properties and thereby reduce pressure to sell those properties to developers. The cons of Amendment 6 are as follows. Local revenues would be decreased and would suffer. And number 2, the measure allows the legislature to define the terms and impose conditions and limitations on any tax break working waterfront homeowners now receive.
Introducing Amendment number 8, we have Gloria Jackson, member of the Broward County Alumnae Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta.
Amendment number 8, Local Option Community College Funding. Its reference, Article 7, Section 9. Summary. Proposing an amendment to the state constitution to require that the legislature authorize counties to levy a local option sales tax to supplement community college funding, requiring voter approval to levy the tax, providing that approved taxes will sunset after 5 years and may be reauthorized by the voters. Sponsor, Florida Budget and Taxation Reform Commission. The background, the legislature has allowed Miami-Dade County to levy a local option sales tax to assist that area's community college. Some of the pros, community colleges serve as a gateway to the university system to greater employment opportunities. This amendment could increase their funding. Secondly, voters would have the option of denying any proposed local option sales tax increase under the proposal. Some of the cons are sales taxes impose a greater burden on lower income families. Secondly, the measure shifts the burden of funding community colleges from state to local authorities. And lastly, the amendment could create unequal opportunities for Florida residents based on the economy in their county or residence.